Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin, and we are in the kitchen today because today is a massive harvest day. So we have done a lot of harvesting, and we're going to focus on three of the things that we harvested today. So we harvested a big old bowl of broccoli. I'm going to dump it on the floor. We harvested a big old bowl of broccoli. I have my third round of green onion tops. I've been cutting my green onion tops every time they get long. They're growing incredibly fast. So I harvested them, and then underneath the green onions I have a whole bunch of kale. It is middle of July, so my kale is still actually good. I actually just harvested some salad for lettuce for my lunch today, but my kale is still pretty good. But I want to get a lot of this kale preserved, and I'm to the point where you need to check the back of your kale. I'm finally starting to see aphids flying around whenever I go to pick my kale, so I gave this a really good wash, and I've checked the back to make sure I don't have any eggs on that kale, but we're to the point now that my kale needs to kind of be used up. I leave my kale in the garden the entire season, and I actually, for me personally, I don't actually notice that it goes bitter. My bunny eats it the entire summer, but it gets annoying to eat it kind of in the next couple of weeks. It'll just be too annoying for me to eat it because the back is just going to be covered with eggs. And I don't want to mess with having to clean off those eggs and deal with all the bug pressure and all that stuff. So I'm getting a couple more harvests of kale out of the garden before I kind of say, okay, I'm done with the kale for me, and then the kale just will be left in the garden for the bunny. So when it comes to preserving kale, I'm not a huge frozen kale lover. I did freeze kale last year for the whole bunch. You just break it up, wash it, break it up, put it on a cookie sheet, and freeze it, and then you can package it up into your individual bags. I just would get rid of the big hard stem, and I wasn't a fan of that. I'll be completely honest. I wasn't a fan of that. I've used it as kind of like a frozen spinach substitute. I think it works that way, but I also don't like frozen spinach either, so it's not a surprise to me that I don't really like frozen kale. So I didn't know what to do with the kale, and then I kind of had like what I thought was a good idea. So I have my dehydrator up here, and I'm going to dehydrate this kale, and I'm going to make it a nutritional powder. So it's just going to be dehydrated kale. Now dehydrated will get rid of some of that nutrition. It's not going to be the same nutritional value as if I just ate this kale directly like this. However, it's still going to be a good nutritional boost. So I'm thinking I could add this to soups or stews. I just made spaghetti. I could have added a spoonful of this powder to my spaghetti. I think it'll just be a good thing that I can add into things and you don't really know that it's there. It'll just be a good nutritional boost to add into food. So I'm going to get that going in a dehydrator. And then because I have the dehydrator going, I'm going to get these onion greens in the dehydrator as well. So like I said, this is my third round of onion greens. The first round I made green onion powder. And all it is you dehydrate the onions, dehydrate these onion tops. I put them in my blender to blend them all up, and then you use it as an onion powder. So I got almost a quarter jar, or a half pint jar. So I'm going to see if I can get this guy filled up, and then I will use this exactly how I use onion powder. With these green onion tops, I also like to freeze them. So these are delicious, just eaten just like this. You can add these directly fresh, like chop them like chives and add them into scrambled eggs or soups. Anything that you would use green onions or onions in, you could use these fresh. I like to freeze them, and then I add them into my pepper packets, and I add them into when I make broth. Sometimes instead of having onion peels, I just add some of these guys in there, and they are delicious. So these onions are fantastic. And if you're growing onions, make sure you're giving your onions a haircut. Like I said, this is my third haircut for my onions. And I'm going to have, I think, a few more haircuts yet until they're all said and done. So I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. I have it washed and drying right now. And I'm not going to get that started until I will get this, I'll get the dehydrator started after we're done the video, because it'll be too loud for this video. Not a preservation project, but what we're actually going to get started on first before we move into our broccoli is I really want to make cinnamon scones. So I'll be honest, I'm not feeling 100% today. I don't actually feel bad, but I have a very sore throat. Um, I had to actually be on steroids this week, and I've never been on steroids. And apparently steroids, well, not apparently, steroids kind of take over your immune system and shut your immune system down. So I was on steroids, and I got on 4 planes while I was on steroids. So I normally think I have a really good immune system, but when steroids kind of shut it down, and then I get on planes, which I think are just factories of germs, I always get sick when I go on planes. And then I kind of started going this homeopathic route, and I haven't gotten sick. And I've actually gotten to the point where I'm a little cocky about how often I don't get sick. So I gave myself steroids, kind of shut down my immune system. I got on planes. Planes are just germ magnets. So my body is definitely fighting something. Luckily, all of me feels fine. Like it's not in my head. The only place I can tell that I'm getting sick is my throat. So it's been about 24 hours now. It's not left the throat. It's just stayed at the throat. So I've been really diligent about taking my honey and garlic. I swear by honey and garlic. I'm taking this awful fire cider. Fire cider is awful, but it's better than being sick. So I'm taking a shot of this in just a little, you get a whiskey glass, pour a shot of this in with some water, and I drink a glass of that. I actually need to do one after this video. I don't really want to. So I've been doing this to try to keep myself on the right side of healthy. And then this morning, my throat was really hurting me, so I got out. Last fall, we made some sore throat tea together, and I got some of this out. So again, I think once I'm done with you guys here, I'm going to make some more of this tea. This was actually really, it tasted really good. I added just a little bit of honey, but I don't know, I don't remember what we put in here. I would need to go back and look at the video, but there's a nice little sweetness in here that I really, really enjoy. So it's actually like a really good tea. So all that said, we're not going to be talking as much today because my throat is kind of hurting. So, part of my traveling is I went to visit my boss in North Carolina, and her lovely daughter works at the cutest scone shop. And so I had scones when I was in North Carolina. I've made myself scones, like I made myself dill scones, and I made myself like plain scones, but I had like a lemon blueberry scone, and I had a cinnamon chip scone, which was fantastic. So I decided that I want to make scones. So instead of making like a savory scone, which I normally do, I normally don't make sweet scones. I decided I want to make some cinnamon scones, and that'll be a great breakfast for work this week. So in order to do that, we're going to start with, I have a stick of butter that I softened, and I'm just going to give it a quick mix as I throw the butter literally everywhere. And then, I don't think we're going to use the mixer because I just threw butter everywhere. But it's soft enough, I think I can use my spatula, and I think that'll be fine. We're going to make a cinnamon butter. So you might be saying, Caitlin, why is your butter soft? Because you need cold butter when you do anything with scones or whatnot. Well, we're going to make the cinnamon butter, and then we're going to put it in the fridge, maybe even the freezer, probably the freezer, to get really, really cold. And then we're going to use it to make our scones. So all we're going to do to start our scones is we're going to make a cinnamon butter. So I'm just taking some cinnamon, added it into my butter, and we're going to get it mixed. If you've never made this, add a little bit of brown sugar to this. Let's do that. We're going to do that. And just a smidgen of brown sugar, and this is a copycat of the Texas Roadhouse butter. I make this a lot at Christmas time because we make a lot of the rolls and stuff kind of around Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff. So I make this then, and it is delicious. We did actually make some cinnamon butter pucks. If you weren't here a couple of weeks ago, we made some butter pucks. They're just little pucks of butter that are great for just getting, they're already seasoned. This one is an herb one. They're already seasoned and we can just get them out and add them to whatever we're doing. We did do some cinnamon ones, I believe. But that I think is just going to be too much or not enough for this recipe. So I just have those pucks in the freezer, and then whenever you want some of this seasoned butter, you just go get out of the freezer and it's ready to go. Okay. So I have my butter wonderfully mixed. I'm just going to go throw this into the freezer. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. It is thundering out right now. They're calling for severe storms today. So I'm like, well, let's get into the kitchen, get our cooking and stuff done, and then I'm a girl that loves a good thunderstorm. So then I can kind of sit on the porch with a book and listen to the thunderstorm. So the next thing we're going to be making is I think we've made this together before, but it's one of my favorite things. It's going to be making it's the Pampered Chef veggie pizza. And this is one of my favorite summer meals because we're going to make this dough and then we're going to top this pizza with a super, super delicious cream cheese topping. And then we're going to have our veggies, we're going to have onions and broccoli and cauliflower. It's going to be delicious. So what I did is I just bought the crescent roll dough sheet. That's what I'm using for this today. I didn't feel like making a pizza dough from scratch. I just got a dough sheet, but you could absolutely use your own pizza dough or your own dough. But my throat hurts, so we're taking the easy way out. I'm just baking that according to directions. Now I have a very big bowl of broccoli, but we're not going to need to use all this broccoli for that dough. So I think I'm going to get this separated out, and then we'll use up this broccoli in some other way. We'll probably roast it or something like that. You could preserve it. I have been freezing a lot of it. Maybe we'll do that still. If you want to freeze it, you have to blanch it first. Broccoli definitely does better when you blanch it for 2 minutes and then freeze it. So maybe we'll do that. Let's do that. I lied. Let's just do that right now. Now I'll do half of my broccoli in there, and then we'll leave the rest for our pizza. Okay, while my dough is in the oven, I have a block of cream cheese sitting out softening. That's going to be for the pizza. We're going to get just the dry mix started for our scones. And then when our butter is ready, we can just add it right to our scones. So I am using a scale. With bacon, you don't always have to, but you do get more precise measurements when you use a scale. So in my bowl, I'm going to add 270 grams of flour. I think I might need some more. Perfect, 270 grams of flour. We need a 1/4 teaspoon salt. One tablespoon baking powder. And then 50 grams of sugar. Okay. And that is our dry ingredients. So now we just need to wait for the butter to get hard. So I'm just going to give that a quick mix. And we're going to set this to the side. The dough came out of the oven, and My pot over here is boiling, so I'm just going to drop some broccoli. And then it's only going to go in that pot for 2 minutes. And then we get it out, put it on a baking sheet to let it dry. The rest of this we will use in today's meal. Okay, now I'm going to let these cool completely, and then these will go in a freezer bag and go into the freezer. But that is how simple and easy it is to preserve broccoli. It is not going to be as good as fresh broccoli out of the garden, but it's a very close second. And I'm really proud that I grow 100% of my broccoli. So I'm really proud of that. So this is not something I need to buy anymore. I think that's pretty exciting. The next thing we're going to make is I've never made before. So the pizza, the veggie pizza that we're making is going to be a work lunch. And I thought that a carrot salad I've never made. I've had it once and I really liked it. So I thought we're going to try it again. I've never made it. But I thought this would be a really good side to go with our pizza. So I just have some carrots. I don't ever peel my carrots. I always just leave the skin on, but I wash them good. And then I am just grating them in as long as strips as I can. Not very long, but I'm just grating it. I just don't feel like getting on the big food processor, which would probably make this job so much easier. But we're just going to grate them until we have a nice little bowl of carrots. And I'm kind of making this dressing up as we go along, but I think it'll be good nonetheless. I'm just going to add a little bit of lemon juice. I'm kind of going like an Asian route with this. A little bit of rice wine vinegar. Squeeze of Dijon mustard. And then we're going to have to go by taste. I don't really know what I'm looking for taste-wise yet. A little bit of parsley. I don't have any fresh parsley or fresh cilantro, so I'm just using dried. And then salt and pepper. And you could add golden raisins to this. I'm just not a big raisin fan. And then I give this a toss. I'm going to add in some olive oil. Ideally, make the dressing before you added it in the carrots. I just didn't quite know what I was going for this time, so I kind of would have had to add the carrots at some point anyway. Okay. Let's give this a taste and see how this tastes. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit more rice vinegar. I'm thinking just a smidgen of sugar is needed. So I did about a teaspoon of sugar. When I was looking up recipes for this, I saw a lot prior where it had mayonnaise in them, and I just kind of wanted one that didn't have mayonnaise. Just because. Okay. You can never go wrong with dried cranberries. So let's add dried cranberries. We try it one more time now that it's all mixed together and we've added dried cranberries, which I think will be do the same thing the raisins we're going to do. Excellent. And what's really fun about that carrot salad, that tastes really good. that's just going to sit in that juice, and that's going to go to work with me tomorrow. And that's just going to be marinated all night. It's going to be delicious. So I'm going to get all of the things I'll currently put away, and then we're going to start the cream cheese. Actually, no. We're going to grate our butter, and then we're going to start our cream cheese sauce for our pizza. Okay, our butter is nice and cold. You want it super, super cold because now we are going to grate it. And then we're going to grate it on our box grater in order to, if I can get it out of the bowl, and then it'll incorporate really, really well into our scones. We're going to do the best we can grating it. It is a messy job, but someone's got to do it. As much as possible. You don't want them to be a big clump. When they go into the freezer, you kind of want them to come out of the freezer separately as possible. So, just grate them up the best that you can, and then we're going to go ahead and put it back into the freezer to get frozen again. Whenever working with scones or anything like that, breads, biscuits, you want your butter to be as cold as possible because that's going to result in a flakier final product. Now we're going to make the cream cheese for our dough. So we need a little bit of mayonnaise. So I'm going to make my mayonnaise first. I'm not going to lie, sometimes like right now when I only need a couple of tablespoons of mayonnaise, it is annoying to have to make mayonnaise, but I still have no desire to go back to store-bought mayonnaise. It's so expensive for what it is, and making mayonnaise is so easy. How easy it is to make homemade mayonnaise. Super, super easy. So I'm just going to take some of this mayonnaise, probably 3 nice tablespoons. So in the bowl I put 3 nice tablespoons of mayonnaise, and I'm going to put an 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese. And then we're going to add some ranch powder. And this is homemade ranch powder. Now we're just going to go ahead and get it all combined. Now let's go ahead, we're going to pull over our pizza dough. I have my cream cheese mixture nicely combined. I'm just going to spread this on top. have a really beautiful head of cauliflower. I'm going to start with cauliflower. Whoops. I'm kind of cut it into little florets. And that quick, we have our pizza done. So you can add whatever you want into this. You could add tomatoes and carrots and peppers and banana peppers, cucumbers. You could add whatever you want into this. I only had the broccoli. I had to buy the onions and the cauliflower, so it's not a great meal for the garden. It'd be a better meal later in the season when I have more things coming in from the garden. But this is just extreme summer. It's my broccoli, so I feel like that counts, right? At least it's something of mine. So now this just goes in the fridge. I'm going to wrap this in plastic wrap, and that's just going to go in the fridge, and then we'll cut that and we'll slice that and we'll eat that for our lunch with our carrot salad throughout the week. Okay, and then we still have a few minutes until our butter is ready to make our scones with. So in the meantime, I'm going to whip up a quiche, or not, I guess it's not a quiche. I'm just going to whip up an egg casserole. I don't have a crust. I have a little bit of broccoli left over. I have some onion. I have some leftover baked potatoes. So I'm just going to go ahead. I have a little casserole dish here, and I'm just going to fill it with all these goodies. We're going to throw it in the oven at the same time we throw in the scones, and we'll have scones and some egg type casserole. one thing about having a very small kitchen, I had no more counter space. My entire kitchen is used up. So my butter isn't quite done. I'm gonna let the butter go a little while longer. I'm gonna get this entire kitchen cleaned up and we'll be back to finish the scones. It's times like this that I really wish I had a rain gauge so I knew how much rain we were getting. I wanted a rain gauge for a long time, but I think it's just one of those things. It's not one of those things I feel like you buy for yourself. You normally kind of have everyone, or it's normally like it was a gift. I'm just not gonna buy it for myself. I don't know why. I'm just not going to. So, while the rain comes down and the thunder rolls, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this butter out of this pan, out of this bowl. This is nice and frozen. We're going to work quickly, and then we are going to put this back into the fridge for 20 minutes just to make sure that butter is as cold as possible. Okay. So I have 2/3 a cup of milk. I have our dry ingredients, and I'm just going to mix it all together slowly, being careful not to overwork the dough. And then I think it'd be really good on this as I'm mixing this. I think if you made like a bourbon maple glaze, that would be so good on this. I don't have any bourbon, but I have maple. So you might see us making a maple glaze when we're done. See what I'm feeling in the mood for. See if it needs a glaze, first of all. Okay. Let me get my hands in there and just get it all mixed together. Again, working quickly because my hands will melt this butter. And it is a wet dough. It is a wet dough. So I'm going to put it back in the fridge to kind of harden, and then I'll get it out to cut my scones. So I set the oven to 425, and I just threw our egg casserole in. Now let's go ahead, we're going to get out our scones. I am so excited for these scones. I think tonight I'm going to do some sort of breakfast for dinner. I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing. And I'm going to watch the latest season of Handmaid's Tale. I'm a season behind. I think this actually came out quite a bit ago, but I'm just now watching it. So I think that'll be fun. As it storms around me, I think that'll be a perfect even. Okay, so this is still pretty wet. So we're just going to do the best that we can get in this cut. Add my scones. I only got 4 from that batter, so that's kind of depressing, but hopefully they turn out delicious. I'm going to add these scones into the oven, 425 for 18 to 25 minutes, and we'll be back when they come out. Look at my so-called scones. They're huge. They definitely expanded a lot. I just want to make sure they're done, and they seem done. They smell really, really good. So I'm going to get these out, onto my cookie rack so they can start to cool. But these are huge. Let's see if I can get these up in one piece. Oh, that is a massive scone, but it came up in one piece. My God. I think this is going to be so good. These things are huge. So excited to have these. So let me remove this. Now I left a little bit. Okay, so they're not quite as fluffy as I feel like this one here. They're not quite as fluffy as I would have liked them to be, despite how much we chilled the butter. But I think that tastes really good. Yeah. They taste really good. So far, I'm just eating like the crispy edges. But the crispy edges are really good. So, like I said, I'm not quite sure. It's not a complete puck, but it's definitely not a fluffy round scone. So, I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's going to taste delicious regardless. And they got huge. They definitely spread out. The butter definitely spread out and melted and spread out. And that's why they're not fluffy, because the butter spread out before it froze. So, I don't know why that happened. But they're going to be delicious anyway. And next time, I just put in my grocery order, I'm going to buy some cinnamon chips. And I think some cinnamon chips in here would be really, really good too. Kind of give that extra oomph. But I think these are going to be delicious. I'm going to have breakfast for dinner tonight. I'm going to eat these with my breakfast for dinner, or eat one of them with my breakfast for dinner, and that'll be delicious. My egg casserole is not quite done yet. I'm going to give that probably another 10 minutes. But I have a book. I have a cup of coffee. I said I was going to do a cup of tea, but I'm really craving coffee. So I made a cup of coffee. We're going to go sit down and read until it's time to come back in the kitchen and make dinner. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends. I'm bringing you guys back just to show you how beautiful this egg casserole turned out. I did top it with some Parmesan cheese before I put it in the oven. This smells so good. So this is going to be a delicious breakfast. So that quick, just to wrap up what we did, I got breakfast made for work for the week. I got lunches made for work for the week. I got scones made because I'm fat and I want scones in my life. And we have kale and onions going in the dehydrator now. So we have been super successful. Thanks, guys. This smells delicious and I can't wait to dig in. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.